AdEPro, animation of adverse event profiles. AdEPro should be the new way to audio visualize the temporal progress of the adverse event appearances in a clinical trial. We get away from the pure look into summary tables and get to see all patients at a glance. Let's dive directly into our visualization. What you see here is a patient in one of our studies on one day of the study. That patient is visualized as one gray circle. And now we add his adverse events. Differently colored slice represents a different adverse event type. For example, the top red one, this patient suffered from vomiting on this day of the study that we're looking at. And furthermore, as you can see, those slices are also of different length. As you can imagine, this means different intensities. Another interesting information is the adverse event history of a patient. Now we see slices that are not fully colored, where we can only see the edges. That means that those particular adverse events appeared on a previous day of the study, but not on this day that we're looking at the moment. I would like to turn your view away from one single patient and onto the entire study cohort. The collectivity of patients is split into two groups, the treatment arms of the study, and then you also have this bar at the top. And right in the middle of it, you see this large number 1 and the slider next to it that is also set to 1. Both of this refers to the day of the study. You can move the slider to any other day or even play it automatically. And right now we're looking at the first day of the study, so that means we get to see all adverse events that appeared on this first day. And which adverse events we selected, that is something that can be seen right next to it. We have a legend right there on top. Without even looking into the temporal progress, we can see that the patients, they experienced vomiting and diarrhea. We get to see that this is not an exception of one single patient, but actually the norm, a pattern. And now we can also have a look into the temporal progress. We recognize that patients are now suffering from nausea, starting from the second day of treatment. Additionally, there are patients in this arm who suffer from more than one gastrointestinal disorder at once, and also the number of patients with diarrhea is constantly increasing. On the other hand, you see that in the placebo arm, the safety profile appears much less severe. The first thing I would like to draw your attention to are those black circles that you can especially now see on the right-hand side. Intuitively, this means that a patient died during the study progress. The next thing I would like to draw your attention to are these lighter gray circles, which you can also see more often on the right-hand side. This represents a dropout in the study. And if we have a look onto the left-hand side again, where we see the placebo-treated patients, we see that the number of patients with fatigue has also increased over the course of the study. And that is just another example of an obvious finding that took us hardly any effort at all. To understand the safety profile even better, our clinician was interested in thromboembolic event. That is not one of those adverse events that we have currently chosen, but luckily we just need a few mouse clicks to change our selected adverse events. For this, we have this panel on the upper left-hand side of the screen where it says adverse events for display, and we can just remove one of those other adverse events from the list and choose thromboembolic event, which we're interested in seeing, from the list, and then we can just play it again from the start. Another interest focused on the correlation of two adverse events, dyspnea and edema limbs. Fortunately, that is no problem at all with the AdEPro. We just select those two adverse events from the list, dyspnea and edema limbs, and play it again. And immediately we see, again, as always, the early imbalance between the two treatment arms. As we're investigating the correlation, we can just skip directly to the end where we see the adverse event history of all patients. And as we can see, the imbalance has intensified over the course of the study, but there's no real hint that there is any interaction, any correlation of those two adverse events, as hardly any patients had them both. This was a realistic question, and we were able to give an answer to this within just 1 minute. As you've just seen, AdEPro enables us to not just gain a faster, but even a more detailed insight into the adverse event appearances in a clinical trial. We can now get a comprehensive overview within, say, 1 hour. We're able to say that the potential is even greater, especially when we use it in collaboration between operational and clinical functions. Imagine a 1 to 2 hour meeting where clinical leads, medical experts, statisticians, data managers and more come together to investigate the safety profile of a study. A meeting where we share our insights based on our diverse backgrounds. We are sure that this will bring safety analysis to a new level.